got a whole different generation of people that come in from a world of technology and every bit of information at their fingertips. Where we had to go by word of mouth or go to a library. Right. We grew up in a completely different era, and we've been through multiple crashes up to this point. How would you convey stepping into the business world and entering into an environment like this with a lot of really the old guard people that have survived a lot of stuff and built up things in multiple different business generations? Because when you put all the business generations together since the 80s till now, there's been a massive shift.
For sure.
Every few years things shift significantly. Now you have a group of people come in that do not know what it's like to touch a rotary phone, or do not know what it's like to have to go to a library to figure stuff out.
I would say the same thing to both sides of that coin. I'll speak to the youngsters and the oldsters alike, because I think that a lot of the mistake that is being made and the disconnect that's happens going both ways. So my business changed dramatically. I used to have this view years ago of the millennials, right? Like they're lazy, they don't want to do any work, I don't want to work with them, that I have to stay in for them, whatever. And when as I was listening to them talk in rooms that I was in, I was like, man, they are so innovative and they're so stinking smart. And yes, do I think that they could be lazy? Yes, but what got born out of that was innovation that we couldn't even conceive of. My business changed dramatically when I went in and said, all right, let me incorporate some of this younger guard into my business. And it was the marry of the new burn it down innovation with the wisdom of experience. And that's, I think, as an older business owner, entrepreneur, I missed out a lot by not embracing the good part about what innovation is like. Likewise, I think the younger crew coming up is going to get massively burnt if they're so much about the burn it down, we're going to recreate everything from scratch, and not having any respect for what was built in a different time. But there's a lot of wisdom. They have a lot of there's knowledge and acumen on the younger side, but wisdom has a lot to do with that. So I think that they need to embrace more just the wisdom of experience and the fact that we've lived through downturns, we've lived through some of these cycles. There are similarities. There are ways that we can learn from each other. And I think it's just that each of us valuing maybe even the thing that we've had the most disdain for in the past, but just making sure that we're considering it, at least in what we're doing. I was in a really, really high level mastermind, and there was an older guy in there saying, we were talking about crypto, and NFTs and tokens and things like that, and he was like, you know what, I'm not going to have FOMO about it. I'm not interested in it. I don't have any interest in it. And I told him, I said, you need to be careful, because there's a difference between FOMO. To me, I know I have to go down that rabbit hole, and it's not because there's a fear of missing out. I'm not like, oh, everybody's doing it, I want to do it. You have to be careful, because if you're not careful, we're moving and changing and doing everything so fast that if you refuse to embrace that innovation and that newness coming on, you might become irrelevant. And I think that's what you should be afraid of. It's not FOMO. Like some things are FOMO, right? Like, oh, everybody's going out, I want to go, I don't want to miss out on the good time. And there are some things that you have to go, I'm really not interested in this. I think older people have a hard time wrapping their brain. I think the younger generation has such an advantage on the crypto stuff because they just grew up in that world. Yeah. And for me, I literally have to be like, when someone is talking to me, I'm like, okay, can you talk slower? Can you just talk a little bit slower? Because my brain is so entrenched in the oldness.
We can't wrap our head around these things.
But I think one of the things that we have to be very careful of is making sure that, yes, what we've done has always worked, and if you want to keep doing that, you can, but what happens if you do that for so long that you become irrelevant? Yeah. So if you want to stay, there's a degree that you're going to have to kind of embrace what's coming, whether you like it or not.